everybody doing? Great. Long day, huh? Long day. Hey, before I get into my story, I think I have you guys for about an hour and a half, so we'll be quick. Then we'll get dinner. Hopefully you'll get home by maybe midnight tonight. But I appreciate you guys more than you know coming out here and supporting this great organization, supporting this event. I don't think you really realize just how many lives you're impacting and changing just by being here. I know a lot of veterans sometimes, feel alone, feel like they don't have anybody that they can rely on or depend on. I know, transitioning, getting out, the Marine Corps, one of the hardest things for me was, getting back into everyday, civilian life and being able to lean on people like you here today. Makes that transition so much easier. So I want to thank you guys for putting in the time, putting in the effort, and trying to help us. So thank you. It means a lot. I want to thank Craig and his son Matt for everything that they do. You want to talk about being selfless and doing things because it's the right thing to do. These guys do it every single day. They live it every single day. I try to be more like them, and I think we all should try to be more like them. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys. I think, people often forget, they look at veterans and they call us heroes, and my response is, well, I was getting paid to do a job just like everybody else does their job. They get up every day, they go to work, they get paid. We were doing the same things, and it just sucks that I was unlucky and had some unfortunate incidents when I was deployed. But people like Craig and Matt, they do this because they care, not because they're getting a big paycheck, but because they want to change lives, because they want to help people. You guys are here because you want to help people, because you want to change lives. I'm sure you didn't get paid to come out here and golf today, right? It's the opposite. You guys paid to come and golf. So, thank you guys for everything. I'll be real quick, with my story, how I got here. But I met these guys, 5-6 years ago? Yeah, in Pittsburgh. And I remember, a lot of the other veterans here, right when you first get out, it was one of my first events that I ever did. We're at the Steelers Stadium. And I was all excited to put my dress blues back on. Now, if you ask me to put my dress blues on, I'd tell you you're crazy. It's never going to happen. 8 years out of the Marine Corps. But I remember it was like 30 degrees, raining, was miserable, felt like I was back in the Marine Corps, and I'm sitting in a wheelchair on the field. And I remember Craig, I'll never forget this, just standing over me the whole time with an umbrella because he didn't want my dress blues to get wet. And I'm like, I don't even care that much if they get wet. He cares more than I do. The type of guy that he is, he just wanted to make sure that everything went perfect, make sure that I was taken care of, make sure that everything that I did that day was enjoyable and that I didn't have to worry about anything. That's the type of guy that he is. So thank you for that, and I'll never forget that moment. I know it's not something that people would often think about, but just holding that umbrella for me really it showed me the type of person that he was, and I'll never forget that. So thank you. But I'm from Western Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh. Grew up in Pittsburgh. My story kind of starts a couple years before the Marine Corps. Actually, moved out of my parents' house when I was 15 years old. Wanted to start my life over. Saw a lot of things that were going on and realized that I didn't want that to be a part of my life. And I was fortunate enough to realize that at a young age. So I said, I'm going to move out and I'm going to start my life over. And that's what I did. So I moved about an hour away and went to another high school, moved in with a couple friends, bounced around, ended up graduating high school in 2007. Did college for about a month and then got my first tuition bill. I was thinking that college was free. It's not. Got that first tuition bill, it was like $18,000. I'm like, I can't pay this, what am I going to do? And I didn't want to go back to my hometown. Not much going on there. I knew that if I went back, I'd get caught up in what everybody was doing. And I just didn't want that. So I said, there's a war going on, what can I do? How can I help, serve my country? Join the Marine Corps. So I joined the Marines, was attached to 1st Battalion, 8th Marines, was a mortarman. I was an 0341. I was there for about a year, deployed to Iraq, and at this point, the war in Iraq was pretty much over. Didn't do anything while I was there. Lifted weights, had a swimming pool, did all that good stuff. Left there benching like 500 pounds, not really understanding, why we were there. Thought it was pointless, thought it was a waste of money. I didn't join the Marine Corps to go sit on a base and lift weights and eat 5 times a day. I joined the Marine Corps to make a difference, change people's lives, and I didn't feel like we were doing that. If I would have known what we were going to get into, a year later in Afghanistan, I never would have thought that way. But fast forward a year later, got promoted, became a squad leader in a mortar platoon, and my sole job was to train these Marines up, take them to Afghanistan, prepare them for combat, and bring them all home. At 20 years old, I felt like that was a huge task, and I didn't take it lightly. I remember waking up, running 10, 15, 20 miles, our platoon sergeant, platoon commander. They were absolutely insane, just pushing us as hard as they possibly could. And at the time, I didn't realize, why. But, fast forward to Afghanistan, and it all made sense. So we got to Afghanistan in September of 2010. We were in southern Helmand province. Dropped us off on the Ospreys and said, hey, walk a couple kilometers that way. You're going to replace the unit. I think it was maybe 2-2. They'd been there, 2-2 or 2-1. They'd been there for, maybe a month or so. The base wasn't finished being built. And we had to finish setting up the base and, gather as much intel as we could, meet with the locals, try to build all the relationships that we could. And we got lucky with where we were at. The locals wanted us there. They hated the Taliban. We had 20 Afghan army soldiers working with us, living with us, made our life a lot easier. The first time I had ever experienced any type of combat or any serious traumatic injuries was actually our platoon sergeant. And some of you might have been at the hospital with him at Walter Reed, Staff Sergeant Silva. He's a single leg amputee, and it was a month into our deployment. I'll never forget this. We were constantly getting shot at from the same building every single day. So I said, why don't we drop a 2,500 pound bomb on this building, blow it up, then they can't shoot at us anymore from it. All right, good to go. We do that. Anybody here? Any other Marines in here? 75. You guys know how the Marine Corps works. We dropped this bomb, looking through my binoculars, and I can see that there's nothing left this building. Get on the radio, back to battalion, hey, the bomb hit, we're good, destroyed the building, and they come back with, we're gonna need you guys to go check it out, get confirmation. And I'm looking at it, I watched it happen, there's nothing left. No, we're gonna need you to go check it out. Thinking, this is not a good idea. But the Marine Corps is not known for being very smart. The Marine Corps is known for just killing stuff, blowing stuff up. That's what we do. So we went down and checked it out. Myself and 6 other Marines, Staff Sergeant Silva, our platoon sergeant being one of those Marines, was with us. We searched the area, found what we were looking for, which was absolutely nothing. The sun was going down, and we didn't want to be outside in the dark. We didn't prepare for that. We thought it was going to be a quick patrol, check out the area, head home. Silva decided that we were going to take a shortcut back, so we weren't outside in the dark, which was our first mistake. We should have took the same route in or out that we took in. We knew that it was safe, but he wanted to take a shortcut. He's the platoon sergeant, so we listened to him. Remember, I was the 3rd guy in the patrol. He was the 4th guy. 2 in front of me, 2 behind him. We're walking down a narrow, hallway, narrow corridor, mud walls on each side, houses on each side. And as soon as we turn the corner, there's an explosion. And I, get blown through a wall and, got knocked out, woke up maybe a minute, 30 seconds later, and stood up and then realized that, I didn't step on an IED, because if I did, I wouldn't be able to stand up. So I started looking around, and the dust settled, and sure enough, Silva was 5 feet deep in a hole, missing his right leg, arm all jacked up. And first time I've ever seen anything like that. For a split second, I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And then, as you guys know, training kicks in. Grab your tourniquet, grab your med kit, start working on him, call for a medevac, see where the helicopter's at, talk to him, make sure everything's good. And I'll never forget this, changed my life forever. He's laying in there, and he's awake, he's talking to us, and he's asking all of us individually, one by one, hey, Rumball, are you okay? Chavis, are you okay? Walker, are you okay? And I'm thinking, this guy is about to die, and he's more worried about us than he is about himself. And it taught me a lot, and that stuck with me forever. It showed me a lot of things, and it showed me that, I wasn't like that, and I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be selfless. I wanted to be like him. I said, from this point on, that's how I'm going to be. And now that I think of it, it reminds me of, Craig and Matt and what they do on a daily basis. They're never thinking about themselves. They're always thinking about other people. They're always putting other people before themselves, and that's what Silva did. And I said, you know what? I want to be like that. I want to live the rest of my life like that. So from that point on, I tried to do that. Helicopter landed, and picked him up, threw him on my back, and got him as close as I could to the helicopter, and threw him down on the ground, put him on a stretcher, put him on the helicopter, and it took off. And I remember just standing there, covered in blood, and just thinking about everything that had just happened, thinking about how if it happened to him, it could happen to any of us. He's been in the Marine Corps for 20 years. I've been in the Marine Corps for 3 years. He knows way more than I do. If it happened to him, it could happen to any of us, and it really opened up our eyes. So for the next 2 months, I was either the guy in front of or the guy behind somebody that stepped on an IED on 4 other occasions. So in my mind, I'm thinking, sooner or later my time's going to come. We had found 90 IEDs in the first 75 days that we were there. They really didn't. They're really afraid of us. IEDs is. That's how they got to us. They really wouldn't get close to us. They tried to keep their distance, but the IEDs were working. I remember on the day that I had gotten hurt, November 29, 2010, we were living in a house in a village. Our base was up on top of a hill, villages on each side, and we decided to set up a secondary base inside of the village to have a constant presence so that we could kind of see everything that was going on more clearly and have a better handle on the situation inside of the villages. Taliban were living in that house. We evicted them, moved in, set up a base, and just got back from patrol. Sent out a security patrol, 4 Marines, to do a quick patrol around the building. And within 10 minutes of them being out, we hear an explosion. Right away we know what it was. We go sit by the radio. 10 seconds goes by. Hey, Lance Corporal Chavis stepped on an IED. He's missing both of his legs above the knees. We need a medevac. We need support. So grab the radio, call for a medevac. They're like 8 minutes out. Great. So call for the medevac, grab a stretcher, sprint down to where he was inside of a courtyard. Once again, something that stuck with me forever. I remember there's one entry and one exit. I'm sure everybody else who's in the military can understand why that's kind of a big deal. He's on the inside of this courtyard with one entry and one exit. He stepped on an IED. There's one IED, there's probably 10 more. They know how we work. They know if somebody steps on an IED, we're not going to leave them there to die. We're going to send somebody else to go in and get him. So the chances of there being secondary IEDs are very high. So I had a decision to make. And some of us, I know I've experienced it prior to this. And I'm sure some of us are experiencing this right now. How many of us have that boss or that manager that sits behind the desk, points fingers, tells everybody what to do, they don't do shit, and then they take all the credit for all the hard work? We've all experienced it, right? I didn't want to be that guy, so I had a decision to make. I could have said, hey, Walker, grab the stretcher, go in and get Chavis, I'm going to stand on security, I'll be waiting for you when you get out. And as soon as I said that to myself, a light bulb went off, and I said, you know what, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't go in and get him myself. So I grabbed the stretcher, started walking in towards him, and on that third step, I ended up stepping on a secondary IED, took my left leg below the knee, right leg at the hip, collapsed both of my lungs, broke my arms, knocked most of my teeth out, shrapnel in my face. Nothing too serious. Out of everything that had happened, I noticed that I'm left-handed, so I'd lost the tip of my trigger finger. And then that's when I kind of realized that, yep, they're really gonna kick me out of the Marine Corps now. But I remember laying there and thinking once again about everything I had done up to that point in my life, and the only significant thing that I could think of was joining the Marine Corps. And I said, you know what, I can't, this can't be it for me. There's got to be more. I got to make it through this. And I started thinking about everything that I had done up to that point in my life, and like I said, the only significant thing that I could think of was joining the Marine Corps. And to me, that wasn't enough, and I needed more time. I wanted a second chance, and I said, what, if I get this second chance, I'm gonna do something good. I'm gonna do things right. They put me on a stretcher, put me on a helicopter, and I passed out, and I woke up 2 weeks later, back at Walter Reed, and then, realized everything that had happened. There's a lot of guys in here that were, that went through the hospital the same time I did, the same way that I did, and I'm sure they experienced similar things. But for that first year that I was there, I played that, why me game, thought, this could only happen to me. Nobody knows what I'm going through. My life sucks. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And it was a tough year. And then I started getting out of the hospital bed, started getting out of my hospital room, started going to therapy, started seeing some of the other men and women that were in similar situations and worse. I was at the hospital with a guy that lost both of his legs and both of his arms. And he got up every day and went to therapy. To me, that was a hard pill to swallow, because I'm sitting here complaining that I'm missing both of my legs, and this guy is missing both of his legs and both of his arms, and he works 10 times harder than I do. So what excuses do I have? And that's when it all hit me. I said, I don't have any excuses. What I started to think about, and what I want everybody to think about is, everybody in this room, we all go through traumatic experience, traumatic things that happen in our life that ultimately shape the direction that we go, or the path that we go down. Everybody's been through something traumatic. But at the end of the day, we all have choices to make, and we can go one way or the other. And at that moment, I had the choice to make, and I could have said, you know what, this is my life, it is what it is. I'm going to be a double amputee, retired from the Marine Corps. I'm going to collect my retirement for the rest of my life, and I'm going to live an average life, and this is it. These are the cards that I was dealt, that's it. Or I could use this as a platform to inspire other people. I could use this to change other people's lives. I can show people that no matter what you've been through, that yes, it might suck for a brief period of time, but I promise you, whatever you're going through, somebody else has gone through it worse, and they found a way to get through the adversity. They found a way to make something of themselves. And that's what I tell myself every day. I lost both my legs. That sucks. But guess what? I got both my arms. Guess what? I got my brain. Guess what? I can talk. I can see. No matter what it is, and I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody. I'm not saying that what you went through is less, but I will say this, whatever you've been through, somebody else has been through it worse. 10 times out of 10. And they're going to find a way to make something of themselves. So once again, what excuses do we have? And just by being here today shows the type of people that you are. Because you want to give back, you want to help, you want to change lives. You do realize that there are people that need help. There are people that deserve so much more. And I'm not saying this for myself, I'm saying this for the other men and women that maybe aren't as lucky as I am, because I do feel like I'm lucky because I came home. Think about our Vietnam. Do we have any Vietnam veterans here? Think about this, okay? Think about this hard. We should be doing more for our Vietnam veterans now. Just think about this, okay? Imagine if we went to Iraq or Afghanistan, Desert Storm, where we were at, and we came home, and our country just said, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. It is what it is. You guys went and fought a war. You're a bunch of assholes. You guys are nobody. I mean, that's what they said to you guys. It's crazy. You know what I tell people? That if I was alive back then, I'd be in jail right now for murder. Because I would have killed somebody if I would have saw the way that they were treated. So I want to make it a point now, if you see a Vietnam veteran, you see somebody with a hat on, say thank you and say welcome home. I'm telling you, they will appreciate that more than you ever know. Because guess what? They didn't hear that when we came home. And the reason that we're treated so well when we came home, unfortunately, is because of how poorly they were treated when they came home. So thank you guys. At the end of the day, it's simply just about doing the right thing, being a good human being, not always thinking about ourselves first. It's okay to put other people before yourself. And it sucks that it took me, experiencing all the things that I did, almost dying, 2 years at the hospital to realize that. But I don't want people to make the same mistakes that I did. And just realize that, whatever it is that you're going through, there's people there for you. There's people that want to help. There's people that want to see you succeed. There's a couple hundred people in this room right now that I know that if I needed anything, I could call on any of them and they would help me. And I guarantee you, the first two people I'll start with are Craig and Matt, and I guarantee you it wouldn't have to go any farther than those two. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming out and supporting such a great organization, a great event, two amazing people and their families. I think we often forget how much they sacrifice to make this stuff happen, how much money out of their own pocket that they've sacrificed, how much time they sacrifice with their families, just to make us a little bit happier, to bring us a little bit closer to some of our other brothers and sisters around the country. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate you and everything that you guys do. Thank you everybody for coming out. Hopefully I'll see you next year.